Hi boys and girls, this is Mrs. Lemons and I want to do a little lesson on measurement. I'm going to combine a few of the work assignments and just talk to you a little bit about measurement. So in your packet of work, you got this paper 15-1, and the first one it's talking about, it says exploring length, and it's measuring in paper clips. Now, length is how long something is, and a lot of times we don't use paper clips. We would use a ruler or something else, but you can use anything to measure length. We started with paper clips just to kind of show you that in a way. And the first thing it talks about, it says estimate, or some people call it estimate. When you estimate, you are doing your best guess. So it's not like you're kind of just guessing anything. You are thinking about what you know and making your best guess, is how I would say it. Maybe sometime you have guessed how many jelly beans are in a jar or something, and so you estimate, or you take your best guess of how many are there. So as you're doing this assignment, front and back, it talks about estimating. So you'll tell how many you think. Like, for example, they said they thought this line was 4 paper clips long, and then they actually went to measure and it was 4. Now, if those two don't come out the same, that is okay. Your estimate does not always have to be correct. It's what you think it is, and that's why you measure, just to see. You got a baggie of paper clips, probably like this. When you go to measure, take those out. And a couple of things here might be kind of difficult as I hold it up here, but when you're measuring, you start at the end, obviously, and the next one you would put right up against it, so you're not leaving space between, and you would be on a flat surface when you do this. Okay, so when you use the paper clips, you make your estimate, then you go ahead and actually measure and see if you're correct. Okay, but it doesn't matter if you're not. Now that's measuring with paper clips. Probably more things that you're a little bit used to. The next one, you're measuring in inches. And included in your packet of work was a ruler. I'd like for you, when you're done, to return that ruler when you turn in your final packet of work. But rulers, they can look the same, but they can also look a little bit different. The one you got, well, for one, there's 2 sides to the ruler. If you look at this side, where the numbers are farther apart, that's measuring in inches. And it even says inch right here. And that's what this first assignment, that's what you're going to be measuring in. So if you look, there are 12 inches, which is also a foot. 12 inches in a foot. Okay? So when it says the inch paper, when you're measuring these inch worms, make sure you start at the end, because the end would be like 0, and you measure how long it would be and put your answer there. Okay? There's a back side as well. Now this side has the estimate again, so again, how long you think it is, and then you try it. So the bigger side of your ruler are your inches. Now, if you flip the ruler to the other side, this one happens to say cm. cm stands for centimeters. Now, this ruler that I have here, it had the inches side, and then it also had this side. Now, if you look at this, it says mm. That's millimeters. It's talking about all the teeny tiny marks right there. That's not what you're going to measure for centimeters. It's actually the numbers that are right here. So I just want you to see that these rulers are actually the same, but if you see mm, that's millimeters. I think the one that you got said cm, which is centimeters, and that's what you're going to measure in. Now, when I look at centimeters here, there are 30. So remember, there were 12 inches, because inches are bigger, and then there are 30 centimeters on this ruler. Centimeters are tinier. If I was with you at school, we'd talk about the size of a centimeter is about the size of like a ladybug or something, okay? And an inch is more like the size of just about a smaller paper clip, okay? So the third paper, was the centimeters side. So just be really careful that when you're doing these assignments, remember before it was inches, when I'm measuring centimeters, that's where the tiny numbers are together. You start at the end, even though it doesn't say 0, that would be 0, and you measure what it's closest to. So if you were looking at this little comb right here, this would be closest to 2 centimeters, and that's why they have it written there. They've made your job pretty easy, but if they didn't tell you what unit it is, you would want to make sure that you wrote cm for centimeters, or yes, on this side it abbreviated inches is IN. Those are things that you'll start to learn as you measure a little bit more. So again, this lesson was on measuring with paper clips, measuring length with paper clips, or inches or centimeters. So make sure when you're measuring that you are using the correct unit. I hope you're doing well, and take care.